Meanwhile, as they prepared their gruesome banquet, a few of the tribe members turned their attention to something the Richie pirates were dying to protect: Buggy's severed torso and limbs. Untying the package, the group were questionably puzzled as parts of Buggy's body parts were dispersed along the ground. One Piece. Story was made by Eiichiro Oda. Chapter 68. The Fourth. Munching on the last bits of his meal, Luffy contemplated his words. Take Sanji along? He paused, considering it briefly, then answered simply, Don't wanna. The kitchen staff glanced at each other in shock. A silence settled over them as Zeff leaned in, his eyes scrutinizing Luffy. What's the meaning of this? Didn't you want to cook for your ship? What? Are you not satisfied with him? No, it's not like I'm dissatisfied or anything, Luffy replied. I do want him to come along with me, but he said he wants to stay here and be a cook. So even if you tell me to take him with me, I'm not gonna. Zeff raised an eyebrow, assessing him. So, you won't accept unless he says it himself? Yup, Luffy confirmed, his focus already drifting back to his empty bowl. More soup. Zeff gave a resigned nod. Well, you do have a point. But the problem is whether that rebellious brat will be honest with himself or not. It's impossible. He's too hard-headed for his own good. Fixated on his next bowl, Luffy paid no mind as he listened to the conversation. Outside, Sanji sat by the back entrance of the employee's room, his gaze distant as he exhaled a slow, steady stream of smoke. Just then, a strange shape emerged from the ocean, a fin slicing through the water and darting toward the restaurant. Suddenly, the fin rose, and a massive striped shark leapt out, slamming into Sanji, crashing through the door in a dramatic burst of debris. Sanji! What is this guy? A mermaid? Did he come all the way from Fishman Island to try our cooking? A chef gaped, gazing upon the green-hooded figure. You idiot! This is just a guy in a panda shark. A realization struck Luffy, and he jumped up. Yosaku! Brother Luffy, the figure said weakly. What are you doing here alone? He asked, glancing around. Where are the others, and what about Nami? Taking a deep breath, Yosaku climbed out of the shark, wrapping himself in a blanket before slumping into a nearby chair. We couldn't catch up with Sister Nami, but judging from the way she was headed, we're pretty sure we know where she's headed. Oh, good, Luffy said, moving closer. Then let's go and bring her back. Shaking, Yosaku's face turned grim. Well, if she's headed to where we think she's headed to, then it's an incredibly dangerous place. Well, I'll fill you in on the details later. In any case, we need your strength, bro. Please come right away. Okay, I don't know what's going on, but fine. Let's go. Wait, a voice interrupted. Luffy turned his head to see Sanji leaning against the wall. I'll go too. Take me with you. What? Sanji? Sanji's expression softened. I'll accompany you on your way to becoming the Pirate King, he shared. After all, we both have crazy dreams. So I'll tag along to fulfill mine. He locked eyes with Luffy. I'll be the cook for your ship. Sound good or bad? The young pirate grinned. Sounds great. Quickly, Yosaku and Luffy danced around with triumphant cheers as they celebrated his new crew member. Sanji turned to the other cooks, his expression mixed with gratitude. That's how it's gonna be, guys. Sorry for all the trouble I put you through. Patty crossed his arms with a scowl. I don't like it one bit. I wanted to throw you out of here with my own two hands, but now you decide to leave on your own? Sanji shrugged. Sorry for making you put on that crappy performance. What? You knew? I could hear you crystal clear outside, you numbskulls. What? Sanji turned to Zeff with a challenging glare. So, you wanted to kick me out that badly, huh? Is that right, you damn geezer? Patty, unable to hold back, snapped, Why the hell do you always have to talk like that? Holding him back, Zeff firmly shared his thoughts. That's exactly right, Lil Eggplant. I've always hated brats. There hasn't been a single day when I didn't regret saving a brat like you. Sanji gave a final glare. Whatever you say, geezer. Enjoy the few years you have left. The cooks, buoyed by the excitement of the moment, carefully maneuvered a sleek vessel into view, proudly displaying it for the bounty hunter. Nice boat. Can we really use this? Yosaku asked. Of course. It's Sanji's after all. Meanwhile, in the storage room, Luffy busily stuffed his arms with food, an eager grin plastered across his face. The cook overseeing him couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. You want to take more? Yup, give me more meat, Luffy replied eagerly. How many days are going to be sailing for? He pressed, trying to gauge just how much Luffy intended to hoard. Luffy shrugged. Dunno. Laying on his bed, Zeff stared blankly at the empty ceiling. His thoughts drifted as shadows from the jagged edge of the smashed wall flickered in the dim light of his bedroom. Elsewhere in the restaurant, Sanji collected the last of his belongings. He pulled out a chair, settling into the cool wood beneath him. Lifting his gaze to the ceiling, he watched a cloud of smoke curl from his cigarette, mingling with the dust motes dancing in the sunlight. In a flashback, Sanji, as a boy, watched over the Bharati. Zeff had invested his entire fortune into their ship, and still he found himself in debt. Despite the weight of his worries, Sanji stood by his side, offering a steady presence and unspoken support. He knew that loyalty was paramount, especially during trying times. In the kitchen, tensions flared as Sanji engaged in a heated debate with the head chef. The older chef admonished him, insisting that smoking would ruin the young cook's palate and undermine his skills. Sanji, defiantly puffing on his cigarette, insisted that he had reached manhood. Coughing violently between words, he clung to his belief that his taste buds could endure. Patty and Karn, looking like delinquents, stormed into the restaurant demanding answers. This the place that Red-Leg Zeff is supposedly running? They shouted. You serious about this wanted ad about hiring tough cooks? Time passed, and years later, Zeff's frustration boiled over. He struck Sanji's face with his peg leg. You nincompoop, you expect me to serve this crap to our guests? You can eat this instead. The noise in the dining room hushed as customers whispered amongst themselves. Hey, did you hear? The owner of this place is a washed-up pirate. Fuming, Sanji snapped back at the guest. Try saying that again, you punk! Owner Zeff! Sanji beat up another customer again. But Zeff intervened, striking the customer down with his peg leg instead. Stop agitating my cooks, you bastard! We gotta stop owner Zeff. As the legend of the floating restaurant spread, word reached the ears of hungry pirates. One captain swaggered in, declaring, All right, you damn cooks! If you fear for your lives, then hand over all your food. But the cooks, emboldened by their shared resolve, stood firm against the threat. What did he say? Not sure, I think I missed that. The sun hung high over the Bharati, casting shimmering reflections on the water. Outside, cooks gathered in a tight group, waiting for the chef to appear into view. Luffy and Yosaku waited patiently as the bounty hunter muttered aloud. Brother Cook is sure running late. Just as Yosaku's worry began to swell, he spotted a familiar figure standing at the entrance of the restaurant. Oh, he's here. The cooks noticed his appearance and instinctively stepped back, creating a disjointed but clear path to the ship. Suddenly, Patty and Karn, armed with oversized spoons, lunged forward from behind. "This is payback for all those years," Patty declared, while Karn shouted, "Die, Sanji!" Yet, in an effortless display of skill, Sanji deflected their clumsy assault, sending both chefs tumbling onto the deck. Nearby, one of the cooks observed the spectacle with a knowing look. "Told you can't beat him." As Sanji walked toward the ship, the chefs stood solemnly, acknowledging his dedication as a chef. "Let's go," he urged. Luffy's brow furrowed. "Just like that? What about saying goodbyes?" "It's fine," Sanji reassured him. But just then, a voice resonated from the second level. "Hey, Sanji." Sanji froze as Zeff, the owner and mentor, appeared on the second level. "Don't catch a cold," he said, wishing him well. Luffy smiled, feeling the weight of the moment. However, Sanji's composure started to falter, tears pooled in his eyes, eventually spilling over. Without warning, he dropped to his knees, pressing his forehead and hands against the deck. "Owner Zeff!" he cried out, his voice trembling. "I'm eternally grateful for taking care of me for so damn long. I shall never forget for the rest of my life the debt I owe you." Zeff's eyes glistened with unshed tears as Patty and Karn rushed towards him. "You bastard, goddammit! We're gonna be lonely without you! Real lonely, you hear?" The other cooks joined in, their shouts overlapping as they promised together in unison, "I'll miss you! You're making us cry, damn it!" Sniffling, Zeff shot them a disapproving look. "Damn idiots. Men should say their goodbyes silently," he commented, trying to mask his own emotion. Grateful yet heartbroken, Sanji shouted, tears streaming down his face. "Let's meet again one day, you good-for-nothing bastards!" With the sails unfurling and catching the wind, Luffy shouted with infectious enthusiasm, "All right! Let's set sail!" As the ship drifted away, the cooks waved goodbye, hearts heavy with farewell. They watched their friend embark on a new journey into the unknown, grappling with the bittersweet reality of change. United in sorrow, they sent their best wishes across the water, knowing this goodbye would echo long after the ship vanished from sight.